Joey Wheeler is getting a ton of love from Konami lately, essentially turning one of his most iconic cards, Flame Swordsman, into an entirely new archetype. One of his most memorable duels in the entire show against Bandit Keith inspired the design of brand new cards like Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon, Metal Flame Swordsman, and even a new version of Copycat. So that got me thinking, why not build a modern Joey Wheeler deck that combines Flame Swordsman, Red Eyes, and Metalmorph cards all in one? So first we'll take a look at the deck profile and then I'll showcase some basic combos the deck can do. And finally I share my thoughts what the deck still needs in terms of future supports. And now without any further ado, let's get started.
Alright, let's first take a look at the deck's newest boss monster, Metal Flame Swordsman. This monster must first be special summoned by the effect of Max Metalmorph. You can summon it from your hand, deck or graveyard by tributing a level 5 or higher warrior monster. It also has an effect that allows you to search for any card that mentions Max Metalmorph. To do this, you reveal the card in your hand, add the card to your hand, and then shuffle the revealed card back into the deck. Metal Flame Swordsman also gains 300 attack every time your opponent activates a card or effect, and each time it does, it inflicts 500 damage to the opponent. The main way to summon this monster is with Max Metalmorph. After it equips onto the monster it summoned, it gives a 400 attack and defense boost. It also offers protection from being targeted or destroyed by spell and monster effects. This effect pays homage to the anime duel between Joey and Bandit Keith, whereas machine monsters were shielded by magic resisted armor. This armor protected them from magic cards and, in true Duelist Kingdom fashion, also against magic used by monsters, which in this case they interpreted as monster effects. The 400 attack boost is another nod to the original Metalmorph monsters. For instance, Red Eyes Black Dragon gained 400 attack, transforming from 2400 to 2800 when it became Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon. Similarly, Zoa jumped from 26 to 3000 when it evolved. This protection effect of Max Metalmorph makes Metal Flame Swordsman a tough card to handle, especially decks without early in-combo removal options that can bypass these defenses. Metal Flame Swordsman's design is also packed with a lot of callbacks to the anime. Its 2500 attack references the times Joey equipped Salamandra to Flame Swordsman, boosting its attack to that value. The 500 burn damage is another nod to the moment Joey lost 500 life points when Flame Swordsman's attack was reflected back at it, by transforming Zoa with the original Metalmorph. Finally, the 300 attack gain calls back to the original Metalmorph, which increased the attack by the same amount. Now let's move on to the rest of the Flame Swordsman part of the deck. Let's start with Flame Swordsman's main starter, Fighting Flame Swordsman. Its artwork draws inspiration from the anime episode where Joey was turned into Flame Swordsman. This card searches the deck for any spell or trap that mentions Flame Swordsman when it's summoned. And when it's sent to the graveyard you can send a Flame Swordsman or a monster that mentions it from the deck or extra deck to the graveyard. And one of the cards we'll often send to the graveyard with its effect is Salamandra the Flying Flame Dragon. Because if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a Salamandra spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You can also, once per turn, equip this monster from your hand or graveyard to a warrior monster you control as an equipped spell. And if it's equipped to Flame Swordsman or a monster that mentions it, it grants a 700 attack boost. This card is a retrained monster version of the original Salamandra card. Its 700 attack boost mirrors the original Salamandra equip spell, while its attack set also references this effect. Its defense also matches that of Flame Swordsman, further connecting the two. Every time this card was used in the anime it was equipped onto Flame Swordsman, so making it a dedicated support card feels like a perfect fit. The next card is my personal favorite from the Flame Swordsman support, Mirage Swordsman. This card is a retrain of the classic Mirage Knight, which could only be special summoned by the effect of Dark Flare Knight. Dark Flare Knight was a fusion of Yugi's favorite card Dark Magician and Joey's favorite Flame Swordsman. This monster can be special summoned from your hand or graveyard if one of your Fire Fusion monsters is destroyed by battle or card effect. This effect references Mirage Knight's summoning condition, which required Dark Flare Knight to be destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, a condition that was almost impossible to pull off in practice. For this retrain they made it much more generic, only requiring a Fire Fusion monster to be destroyed. If Mirage Swordsman battles a monster, it can destroy both monsters at the start of the damage step. Additionally, if it's destroyed by battle or card effect except by its own effect, you can special summon a level 7 or lower Flame Swordsman or a monster that mentions it from the deck or extra deck. This effect is likely a nod to the anime, where Mirage Knight after leaving the field brought back both Yugi and Joey's deckmasters. And fun fact, you can actually summon Dark Flare Knight using Mirage Swordsman's effect, which is really cool. My brother pulled that off in one of our duels and summoned the original Mirage Knight against me. That duel is on the channel, so if you want to see the OG Mirage Knight in action, the link to that duel is in the description. Even though they made Mirage Swordsman easier to summon, it still requires a bit of setup. I definitely understand why some players might cut this card in favor of more consistency focused cards. However, once you get this card into rotation, it can be pretty annoying for your opponent to deal with, especially if you're playing in a slower, more casual setting, which this specific version of the deck is meant for. And that's it for the Flame Swordsman monsters. Now onto the spells and traps. First we have Fighting Flame Sword. This is a quick play spell that can only be activated once per turn, and you can choose between 3 effects. It searches one card that mentions Flame Swordsman, it can target one card on the field and destroy it when Flame Swordsman attacks, and it can negate a monster effect that targets Flame Swordsman or a monster that mentions it. This is a great card that improves consistency and provides a couple of flexible interruptions. Next we have Salamander Fusion, which is an equip spell and also a fusion card in one. It can only be equipped to a Fire Warrior monster, boosting its attack by 700 points, just like the original Salamandra card. If the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy this card instead. And while this card is equipped to a fusion monster you control, you can send this card and the equipped monster to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon one Flame Swordsman or one fusion monster that mentions it from your extra deck. This card is the main way to get our ultimate Flame Swordsman on the field. But to do that we need access to Flame Swordsman first, which our next spell can easily accomplish. Flame Sword's Realm. This continuous spell prevents your opponent from activating effects when you normal summon a Fire Warrior monster, and once per turn it can send any monster from your hand or field to the graveyard to cheat Flame Swordsman straight out of the extra deck onto the field. Just like Joey never actually fusion summoned it properly. Finally, when any monster declares an attack, you can lower the attack points of one warrior monster you control by 1000, but then all other monsters you control gain 1000. This effect is probably a fun reference to Flame Swordsman's Deckmaster ability in the anime, which could transfer his attack points to Joey's other monsters. He even transferred exactly 1000 to his Rocket Warrior, the first time he used the ability in this specific duel. Its pose on the artwork also seems to be the same as throughout most of the first episode where Joey was dueling the Big 5 member, Johnson, and used Flame Swordsman as his Deckmaster for the very first time. First I was just playing this card as a one-off because it's highly searchable, but this card can really help the deck extend its plays, which I'll explain further in the combo section of the video. Now for the traps, the best one is Salamandra with Chain, a rechain of Joey's Kunai with Chain combined with Salamandra. This card equips onto a fire monster on the field and increases its attack by 700. Then you can flip one effect monster face down. Pretty nice upgrade over the original, which only switched it to defense position. You can also banish it from the graveyard to fusion summon a Fire Warrior or Dragon monster, by using materials from your hand, field and or graveyard and shuffling them back into the deck, but it's destroyed during the end phase. This can come in handy to trigger your Mirage Swordsman special summon effect. Flame Sword's Dance allows you to special summon a level 7 or lower fusion monster from your extra deck that is Flame Swordsman or mentions it, if your opponent special summons a monster. Then you can flip a monster face down, just like Salamander with Chain. You can also banish this card from your graveyard to special summon a Flame Swordsman or a monster that mentions it from your deck or extra deck, but you do have to tribute one face down defense position monster, which makes this card very difficult to pull off. This card is probably the weakest card in the archetype. Depending on how casual you want to make the deck, you might want to cut this card and Mirage Swordsman. I just add these cards in for fun, depending on the kind of power level we want to play in. But if you want to experience the archetype's theme in its fullest, you can include one copy of these cards in the deck. And that's it for all the main deck Flame Swordsman cards. Now for one card that's not technically a Flame Swordsman card, but fits the closest thematically, is Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. This is a fantastic card and synergizes with the Flame Swordsman strategy very well. It can be special summoned by banishing an equip spell from your field or graveyard, and it can equip one face-up monster on the field onto itself if it attacks, giving a 500 attack boost. It can also negate the activation of an opponent's monster effect and destroy it by sending an equipped card to the graveyard. A really good card, and it's so cool it's based off of one of Joey's other monsters, Gearfried the Iron Knight. Alright, now let's move on to the Red Eyes cards in the deck. We have of course the OG Red Eyes Black Dragon along with the Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon. Meteor Dragon can special summon itself by sending a level 5 or higher normal monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. And when it does, its level increases by 1, becoming level 7. Additionally, you can banish it from the graveyard the turn after it was sent there to add a Red Eyes Fusion from your deck to your hand. This makes it one of the best Red Eyes support cards we've seen in recent years. Next up is 3 copies of Black Metal Dragon, arguably one of the best starter cards in the deck. Not only gives it access to the Red Eyes side of the deck, but also the Metalmorph cards. You can equip it from your hand or field to a Red Eyes monster you control, giving it a 600 attack boost. More importantly, when Black Metal Dragon is sent to the graveyard, it searches for any Red Eyes card from your deck. One of the best search targets is Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. This monster can be special summoned by banishing a dragon you control, and once per turn it lets you special summon a dragon from your hand or graveyard. It can also search for Red Eyes Fusion, which allows you to summon a Red Eyes Fusion monster using materials from your hand, field or deck. Unfortunately, this comes with the very outdated restriction of preventing you from summoning any other monsters for the entire turn. Another great target for Black Metal Dragon's search effect is the deck's newest boss monster, Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon. This monster must first be special summoned through the effect of Max Metalmorph, which can summon it from your hand, deck or graveyard by tributing a level 5 or higher dragon monster. Similar to Metal Flame Swordsman, you can reveal this card in your hand, but instead of searching for any Metalmorph card, it sets a Metalmorph trap directly from the deck. Red Eyes Full Metal can negate the activation of a spell, trap or monster effect once per turn, and inflicts damage to the opponent equal to the original attack of one of their attack position monsters. When it's equipped with Max Metalmorph, it becomes untargetable and indestructible by spell and monster effects. This combination of protection and a powerful Omni Negate makes it the best boss monster in the deck. Its 3400 attack points are a clear reference to the anime. Red Eye started with 2400 attack points, which increased to 2800 when Joey used Metalmorph. Later he boosted it to 3400 with Dragon Nails. You can even see those claws featured in its artwork. A great detail for fans of the series. For the last Metalmorph cards we have Metal Illusionist, a retrain of Joey's Copycat. When summoned, it can immediately set a Metalmorph trap directly from your deck. Then, if Max Metalmorph is already in your graveyard, you get to draw yourself a bonus card. What makes this card even more versatile is its ability to change its monster type to anything you need during the opponent's turn. Additionally, its level increases to 5. This flexibility is a perfect fit for a Copycat retrain, ensuring you can summon a Metalmorph monster that fits the situation. Metal Illusionist design pays homage to Joey's duel against Bandit Keith, where Copycat mimicked Metalmorph to transform his Red Eyes into Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon. The ability to shift to level 5 is not only a clever callback to Copycat's original level in the anime, but it also ties seamlessly into the new Metalmorph mechanic, which requires a level 5 or higher tribute. And finally, the last archetype cards are Max Metalmorph, and the newest Metalmorph edition, Flame Coding Metalmorph. Fun fact, Joey actually added the original Metalmorph to his deck in Season 4 of the anime. From that point on, he could bring out Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon without relying on Copycat to mimic Metalmorph. Flame Coding Metalmorph lets you summon Full Metal Dragon or Metal Flame Swordsman by tributing any face-up monster that mentions Max Metalmorph, ignoring their summoning conditions. Once summoned, it equips itself to the monster, granting a single-use protection from destruction by battle or card effect. The artwork references a cool moment in the anime, when Bandit Keith used Metalmorph to reflect Flame Swordsman's attack back at itself. In this new artwork, Flame Swordsman is doing the reflecting because it's been transformed by Metalmorph. Very cool. Next, a couple of cards to help increase the deck's consistency. Specifically for the Flame Swordsman part of the deck, we have 1 Reinforcements of the Army and 2 copies of Durandal. Essentially extra copies of Fighting Flame Swordsman. We also have 1 for 1, which can special summon a level 1 monster straight from the deck by discarding a monster. This card can summon out either Black Metal Dragon to get into our Red Eyes or Metalmorph cards, or bring out Metal Illusionist. We're 38 cards so far, leaving a few flex spots to customize the deck to your playstyle, depending on which of the cards you do and do not want to play. Here are some suggestions. You could play a single copy of Dark Magician to summon Red Eyes Dark Dragoon using Red Eyes Fusion. While I love Dragoon, I don't consider it a staple for this deck. Dragoon feels more like a Yugi Dark Magician card than a Joey card, but if you enjoy playing it, you definitely can. You could also add cards like Monster Reborn or Foolish Burial, classic cards Joey used. They don't see a ton of play these days, but they're still great cards and keep the deck on theme. Alternatively, if you want more interactions during the opponent's turn, you could slot in a couple of hand traps like Ash Blossom, Effect Failure or Impermanence. Ultimately, this deck is all about having fun, so include the cards you enjoy playing the most. Alright, now let's dive into the extra deck. We start with the Flame Swordsman cards. Ultimate Flame Swordsman can pop a monster on the field and then inflicts 500 damage to the opponent. And it becomes a quick effect if a card is equipped onto it. It can double its attack at the start of the damage step, often surpassing 10,000 attack for an OTK. The catch is that it destroys itself during the end phase, but usually the game is already over by then. To summon this card you'll need the OG Flame Swordsman and Fighting Flame Dragon. Fighting Flame Dragon is a fusion of any dragon monster and a fire warrior monster. Similar to Salamandra, it can equip itself from the hand or graveyard to a warrior fusion monster. When equipped to Flame Swordsman or a monster that mentions it, it grants a 700 attack boost and allows the monster to attack twice. making Ultimate Flame Swordsman an even deadlier OTK machine. Next for the Red Ice cards, Meteor Black Comet Dragon sends a Red Ice monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard when fusion summoned, and then it deals burn damage equal to half the attack of that monster. And if this monster is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, it can reborn any normal monster in your graveyard, like Red Ice Black Dragon. Next we have Red Ice Slash Dragon. This one synergizes the most with the Flame Swordsman strategy. It requires a dragon and a warrior monster, and when a Red Ice monster attacks, it equips a warrior from the graveyard to itself, boosting its attack by 200. Additionally, it can negate targeting effects by sending an equip card to the graveyard. If destroyed, it special summons all monsters that were equipped to it. Pretty good, because with Red Ice Fusion we can send the Immortal Phoenix Gearfried to the graveyard, and then special summon it if it was equipped onto Slash Dragon, giving a powerful monster negate on the field. Red Ice Flare Metal Dragon rounds out the Red Ice lineup. As long as it has Xyz material, it cannot be destroyed by card effects, and burns your opponent for 500 damage every time they resolve a card or effect. It can also detach a material to reborn a Red Ice normal monster during either player's turn. Next, a couple of generic Link monsters that supports Red Ice. We're running a couple of Link 1s, Striker Dragon, Guard Dragon Pisty, and Relinquished Anima. These are mainly used to send Black Metal Dragon to the graveyard to search for any Red Ice card we want. Relinquished Anima can also send our level 1 Metal Illusionist to the graveyard and equip an opponent's monster it points to onto itself. So a nice extra utility option available in the extra deck. We also have a couple of Link 2s, Heretic Seal and Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix can destroy a back row if we need to. Heretic Seal can bounce any face-up card your opponent controls back to the hand during their turn by tributing itself. And when it's tributed, it also special summons any dragon from the deck with its attack and defense reduced to 0. This is very useful for special summoning any of our Red Ice monsters straight from the deck. That's 13 cards so far, leaving 2 slots open for customization. A couple of suggestions. You can of course play Dragoon by adding Dark Magician to the main deck. If you really want to turn up the anime level fun to 11, you could add Dark Flare Knight to hopefully pull off Mirage Knight Summon by also adding that. Again, if you want to see that happen, there's a link to one of our live duels in the video description. A third copy of Flame Swordsman can come up sometimes if you're playing a slower, grindy game, or if you want to add some generic removal tools, you could add cards like Nightmare Cerberus or Unicorn. And that's it for the deck profile. Now onto the combos. Alright, first we'll go through a 1-card combo for each archetype: Flame Swordsman, Red Ice, and Max Metalmorph. We'll start with Flame Swordsman. Summon Fighting Flame Swordsman from your hand, which allows us to search for a Flame Swordsman spell or trap card. In this case we'll grab the continuous Flame Swords Realm and activate it. This card sends our Swordsman to the graveyard, to special summon Flame Swordsman straight out of our extra deck, which is treated as a fusion summon. Once Fighting Flame Swordsman hit the graveyard, its effect activates, sending a monster that mentions Flame Swordsman from our deck to the graveyard. We send Salamandra to the graveyard, because when this card is sent there, we can search for a Salamandra spell or trap card. We'll take Salamandra Fusion, which we will equip onto Flame Swordsman. When this card is equipped to Flame Swordsman, we can send both to the graveyard to fusion summon our ultimate Flame Swordsman. Finally, activate Salamandra's second effect in the graveyard, equipping itself onto Ultimate Flame Swordsman. This grants a 700 attack boost and a quick effect to target and destroy a monster on the field. This is good for going first but also going second. Going second, you can double Ultimate Flame Swordsman's attack to 7000. And if you have another warrior on the field, Flame Swords Realm can lower that monster's attack by 1000 to increase Ultimate Flame Swordsman's attack by another 1000. Then Flame Swordsman can double its attack to 9000. Or even more than 10,000 if you're able to bring out Fighting Flame Dragon as well, which would also allow it to attack twice, making it an even bigger OTK machine. Additionally, if you also have access to Immortal Phoenix Gearfried, you can banish an equip spell, in this case Salamander Fusion, to summon it. In this combo I'll show what you can do with Black Metal Dragon. We start by normal summoning Black Metal Dragon, then linking it away into Guard Dragon Pisty. When Black Metal is sent to the graveyard, we can grab Red Ice Darkest Metal Dragon from our deck, which we can special summon by banishing Pisty, and use its effect to reborn Black Metal Dragon from the graveyard. Then we link it away again into Striker Dragon. Black Metal Dragon's effect is not once per turn, but this time we search for Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon. Next we use Full Metal's effect to immediately set Max Metalmorph from our deck onto the field, and shuffle Full Metal back into the deck. Then we end our turn, and during the opponent's turn we activate Max Metalmorph. Tribute Darkness Metal Dragon to special summon Full Metal Dragon from the deck. Alternatively, you could pivot into Heretic Seal at this point. While this prevents you from summoning Full Metal Dragon right away, it adds an extra layer of disruption on your opponent's turn. First use Heretic Seal to bounce a face-up card from the opponent back to their hand, then use its effect in the graveyard to bring out Meteor Dragon, which we then can tribute with Max Metalmorph to bring out our boss monster, Full Metal Dragon. This also sets up the next turn, as you can banish Meteor Dragon from the graveyard the turn after it was sent there, to search for Red Eyes Fusion. Now onto the Metalmorph part of the deck. We begin by normal summoning Metal Illusionist, and when this monster is summoned it can send a Metalmorph trap card directly from the deck. So we grab the Max Metalmorph of course and set it. Next we change Metal Illusionist's monster type to either Dragon or Warrior, depending on what you want to summon, Full Metal Dragon or Metal Flame Swordsman. Then we end our turn, and during the draw phase of the opponent we can activate Max Metalmorph, tribute Metal Illusionist and special summon the boss monster that matches the type you chose for Metal Illusionists. In this combo I'll showcase how to combine some of the previous combos into one, creating a bigger Endboard. This deck has a lot of one-card starters, but each archetype, Flame Swordsman, Red Eyes and Max Metalmorph, relies heavily on its normal summon. As a result, the deck tends to focus on performing one key play consistently per turn, making it challenging to summon multiple boss monsters. To overcome this, I've included more cards to increase the chance of drawing 3-card combos, allowing you to bring out 2 Endboard pieces instead of 1. If you have an opening hand consisting of Black Metal Dragon or Metal Illusionist, together with Fighting Flame Swordsman or Salamandra, in combination with Flame Sword's Realm or 1-for-1, you can bring out 2 Endboard pieces. Additional cards like Reinforcement of the Army, Durandal and Fighting Flame Sword further increase consistency by searching for these key cards. Here's how it works. Start by normal summoning Metal Illusionist, and use its effect to set a Metalmorph trap from the deck and change its type to Dragon. Next, activate Flame Sword's Realm, discard Fighting Flame Swordsman from your hand to summon Flame Swordsman in its place. Fighting Flame Swordsman's effect triggers in the graveyard, sending Salamander from the deck to the graveyard so we can search for Salamandra Fusion. Then equip it to Flame Swordsman and use them to fusion summon Ultimate Flame Swordsman. Next we equip Salamander from the graveyard to Ultimate Swordsman to give it a quick effect monster pop. During the opponent's turn, activate Max Metalmorph to tribute Metal Illusionist, and summon Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon from the deck. This combo highlights why Flame Sword's Realm is such an essential card in the deck. It makes it significantly easier to summon 2 boss monsters instead of just 1. Alright, now let's talk about potential future support for this deck and what it truly needs to shine. Let's go over the Red Eyes part of the deck first. Mixing Red Eyes with Flame Swordsman is such a cool concept, and there's some natural synergy there, mainly through equip-based effects from cards like Black Metal Dragon and Red Eyes / Dragon. Plus, combos like Red Eyes Fusion to send Immortal Phoenix Gearfy to the graveyard, and later summoning it when / Dragon is destroyed are awesome in theory. But after playing the deck in many different forms the last couple of months, the Red Eyes part of the deck, excluding Full Metal Dragon, can feel clunky at times and is much more outdated than Flame Swordsman, mainly because of Red Eyes Fusion. Its restrictions are way too harsh in today's game. Locking you out of special summoning for the entire turn is rough, especially when you can't even trigger Red Eyes / Dragon's effect to summon from the graveyard if it's destroyed that same turn. What this deck really needs is a dedicated Red Eyes support card tailored to Flame Swordsman, similar to how Shining Sarcophagus got its exclusive version of Dark Magician. For example, Red Eyes Black Flame Dragon. This monster can be special summoned by tributing Flame Swordsman or a monster that mentions it, or a monster that mentions Red Eyes. During the main phase, you can send this card from your field and up to 2 level 5 or higher Fire Warrior monsters from your hand, deck or field to the graveyard. Special summon Red Eyes monster from your extra deck that requires at least 1 Warrior monster as material. This is treated as a fusion summon. You can only summon Fire Warrior or Dragon monsters the turn you activate this effect. And the monster we summon with this is Red Eye's Black Flame Knight, a newer version of Slash Dragon, by sending Immortal Phoenix Gearfried and Mirage Knight to the graveyard. This card is always treated as a warrior monster. If this card is fusion summoned, you can equip a fire warrior monster in the graveyard to discard as an equip spell. If a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, quick effects, you can send an equip card you control to the graveyard, negate that effect. Target a card you control or in your graveyard, destroy a card in the spell and trap zone, banish a card on the field. If this card leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can special summon as many monsters from the graveyard as possible that were equipped to this card. This would be a pretty great upgrade for the deck, adding more resilience and grind game potential to the strategy. Not only is it easier to summon, we are not restricted by the effects of Red Eye's Fusion. And since this card is also a fire fusion monster, when it's destroyed it triggers Mirage Knight to summon from the graveyard, making it easier to summon, which is one of the card's main issues. And we can special summon Immortal Phoenix Gearfried as well if it was equipped. A nice way to also blend Gearfried more seamlessly into the deck, which is currently pretty much unsearchable otherwise. Now let's talk about future support for Flame Swordsman. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with what we've gotten so far. There aren't any major cards missing from Joey's anime deck that were consistently paired with Flame Swordsman as far as I'm aware of. I think it would be really fun if Konami could incorporate some of Joey's iconic smaller monsters into the archetype. One of my personal favorites is Rocket Warrior. This card has so much potential and feels like a perfect fit for a Flame Swordsman theme. A retrain, Rocket Warrior Invincible mode, and changing it to a fire attribute could make it fit the archetype very well. This is what a potential Rocket Warrior card could look like. Quick effect. Target one monster you control that's either Flame Swordsman or mentions Flame Swordsman. Equip this card from your hand or field to it as an equip spell. While equipped, the monster gains 1500 attack during battle at the start of the damage step. And just like Rocket Warrior in the anime, it cannot be destroyed by battle. Since it's a quick effect, you could even swap which monster it's equipped to during the opponent's turn. And here's the kicker. If your opponent targets any card you control, you can send this card from the field to the graveyard to destroy that card. If you want to see the deck in action, we've got some fun live duels on the channel featuring slightly earlier versions of the deck. Let me know in the comments what kind of future support you'd like to see for Flame Swordsman, Red Eyes or Metalmorph. Thanks for watching, and I see you later.